24059 NA.
All right, we're back with all of our same participants, parties, and attorneys to talk about the contents of the rest of the pretrial and any other pretrial review issues that need to be addressed. Mr. Shealy, have you had a chance to talk to your client about his position as it relates to the request to adjourn the jury trial?
Yes, no position, Your Honor.
Okay, your client has the option to oppose the adjournment or to waive his right to have it within the statutory time frame in order to allow for the discovery process to take place. No position really doesn't give me an answer to whether or not he has an objection to moving it out, or if he'd like to waive his right to have it within I think it's like 63 days at the most from the date of removal.
Okay, can we just leave it in the court's discretion?
Okay. Any other comments about the request for adjournment? Ms. Berger, I know you were kind of talking somewhere with your client about her position as well.
We were, Your Honor. At this time, we would like to schedule the jury trial, and we would waive the statutory timeline and to allow for us to get some discovery.
Any amendments to your position from the department?
Are we going to consolidate the trials?
Well, so part of the things that we did talk about, I should say this too, in the jury room on that particular question is whether or not to consolidate them. I think for now, I am going to grant the request to adjourn unless Mr. Howitt, your position's changed.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'm going to grant the request for adjournment in order to allow for that discovery to be exchanged. I'm going to set a date to have a consolidated jury trial. But as I have advised the other attorneys, and I'm now advising Mr. Shealy, when you get your discovery back, if it's very clear that you have different sets of facts and circumstances, I would rather have two jury trials. I don't want a jury confused by which issues are her or whose, for example. But if the facts and circumstances are identical, then certainly we don't want to waste everyone's time by coming back twice. So for now, we're going to schedule it as consolidated because that appears to be what is appropriate. And if something changes, then we'll address it again at another pretrial before jury trial. Let's look at some dates. Ms. Thomas, did you want to talk about the issues of discovery or articulate anything else on that point to give us a time frame?
Your Honor, as I had shared in our sidebar, I don't have the liberty of accessing DHS records at my free will. I have to go through the proper channels requesting those. The issue that we will have is the redaction through Lansing. My request would go through the redaction unit, which would take about 3 months or so, especially given the number of reports that are being requested. However, if we had a judicial subpoena, we would be able to get unredacted documents within the next couple of weeks is my understanding. So I believe that all the other attorneys are agreeable to their client's information or of this process with the exception of Ms. Stang, who would like her client's information to be redacted. And I believe that we can achieve that through, I have a proposed judicial subpoena with me, or I can submit a drafted order from the court, whatever the court's preference is.
It's up to you. I'm happy to sign it. Did you have anything to add or any argument on that, Mr. Shealy?
No.
Any additional comments, Ms. Stang?
I'm satisfied with whatever is done. I'm confident that the attorneys can work together to accomplish the redacting without having to burden the court with that.
Any other comments, Ms. Berger?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Howitt. All right, very well. I'll look forward to signing that subpoena to get your discovery underway. As it relates to the time frame for that, it looks like we could maybe look at January then or February for trial.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. So the docket allows for February 6th. I will tell you, I'm planning on taking some time off during that particular month, potentially starting with that week. So you may be in front of Judge Costello for purposes of your adjudication jury trial. If we try to get it in January, it maybe put you as a backup to a juvenile jury trial, January 16th. That looks like the only potential one-day jury trial date that I have in January. Otherwise, we're into February. Any preferences?
I can make the 16th work if that works for everyone.
The 16th would work for me. I'm not available in the morning of February 6th.
All right, Mr. Shealy, any reason you wouldn't be able to join us for jury trial on January 16th, 2026?
No,
All right, we're gonna start that then at 8:30 in the morning. And plan on being here obviously all day for that. And if we need to go into next week, then so be it. We'll just have to move things as necessary, but we'll plan on one day for now, unless any of our attorneys think that we need more than one day.
I would request 2, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
That was what was originally scheduled for, was 2 days.
my client will enter a plea.
Oh.
She'd be willing to do.
I'm not gonna go that long without my kids.
She'd be willing to do a no contest plea today if we can fit that in our docket, and then hopefully we would be able to, the rest of the attorneys will be able to finish the trial on the day. That might.
And Judge, can I just add something real quick? If we don't go to a jury trial, the department is not trying to terminate. We could enter a plea today for Mr. Shelley's client as well, and it would get these kids back to their family quicker. I do think there's no way we get a jury trial in before January, and maybe past that, Judge, depending on discovery, how it comes back. I think it's in the family's best interest to reunite and get in the service. I'll defer to brother counsel, but we could avoid the jury trial, just get this family back together if we could enter a no contest plea.
Well, that'll be up to Mr. Shealy, but for now, I'll schedule that. I'm gonna schedule another pretrial, and then if we'll address the issue of the plea in a moment. But we'll be back here a couple times before that January date. So Mr. Shealy will have some time to talk with his client about that option. If he wants to do that, and if his position changes, then we'll address it at that time. I'm flexible on that. But for now, we're gonna set the jury trial for Mr. Patterson to commence at 8:30 on Friday, January 16th, 2026. Any objections to, well, the no contest plea would be for what particular reason?
I have to pull the petition up.
Thanks. I'll give you a minute to do that. In the meantime, if I decide to accept her plea and there's no objections, we could do disposition and a pretrial in Mr. Patterson's case for Monday, December 1st at 3 o'clock. I'd like the attorneys to check their calendars if you could.
When was that, Your Honor?
On December 1st at 3.
Clerk's right.
Okay, here.
Thank you.
Your Honor, did you say that that was being set with my client's review?
Is your client scheduled for December 1st?
No, I think I said do be though. I just wanted to clarify because I have it for January 13th.
All right, yes, you're fine. I think I have a paper copy of the petition, Ms. Berger, if that would help.
Yes.
Okay. Deputy Ames, would you mind passing this down?
A lot of stuff going back and forth in this case.
I understand.
Thank you.
Deputy Ames, on the last case I have. I could ask you to take care of that one for me. It's ready.
Ready for
Yes. Yep.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I believe, partially, in fact, partially due to the fact of the passage of time with a lot of the allegations and her, my client's prior, CPS history, a lot of that goes back, as far as 2017, in addition to potential civil liability.
Civil liability and, sorry, I didn't catch the other reason.
The passage of time. There's a lot of these allegations date back as far as 2017.
Objections to the no contest nature of the plea?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
Mr. Shealy, any position?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Sang, any position?
No position, thank you.
Very good.
May I
Okay.
approach Kenya?
Why don't you hang on to that for a minute,
Sure, thank you.
in case we need to come back to it. Okay, all right then. Well, the court will accept that for purposes of looking at the plea. All right, Ms. Faith Double, if you could please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, so a no contest plea essentially means that the court's going to look at the petition contents and consider those as accurate. Do you understand that? You don't have to come out and say it, which is why it's called a no contest plea, but for purposes of, for example, reunification services, those are the facts and circumstances that the court will consider for that, which is why I would consider them as accurate, because that's what I would ask the department to base their plan on and to work with you on. Does that make sense?
Does, but
And it's up to you. If you don't want to enter that plea in under that context, then
just none of that stuff on there about me is true, but I'm entering it in for my kids, not for me.
do you, okay, it's Ms. Berger.
Sure. Faith, do you understand that by entering a no contest plea, the court then looks at those allegations in the petition? And that the court views those to help formulate a service agreement? And that although you may not agree with all of the allegations in that petition, that's what the court then has to look at to formulate the things that they want you to work on, so you can have reunification with your children.
There are some other potential consequences, or I'm sorry, there are some other rights that you're waiving and some other consequences. So as you think through that, I'd like you to listen to the rest of the advice of rights as well. And then you can tell me at any point in time if you decide you have changed your mind. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, if you enter a no contest plea, you are giving up your right to a trial by judge or a trial by jury. The right to have the petitioner prove the allegations in the petition by a preponderance of the evidence. The right to have witnesses against you appear and testify under oath at trial. The right to cross-examine witnesses, and the right to have the court subpoena any witnesses that you believe could give testimony in your favor. So you're saying you'd be giving up or waiving those trial rights if you enter a no contest plea. With regard to the consequences of your plea, which is part of what I would like you to listen to carefully, the court will do the following. There will be continued investigation by the caseworker to see what the problems are in your family and how and whether they can be solved. The court could dismiss the case if there's no need for the court to be involved. If it appears that there's a problem that may be solved, the court can make the children temporary wards of the court, placed with mother or father or with relatives or in a foster home, and order programs for you and your children, such as counseling, drug and alcohol treatment assessments, and parenting classes, which is what we're talking about when we're talking about case services. If it appears that you will not be able to provide a proper home for the children in the reasonably foreseeable future, the court could terminate your Brown rights. With regard to the plea itself, specifically even your no contest plea, the plea can also later be used as evidence in a proceeding to terminate your parental rights. Those are the consequences of your plea, Ms. Double, should you choose to enter it. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So So understanding that I'll be looking at the contents of the petition is accurate and that can later be used. I am proceeding to terminate your parental rights if you're unable to accomplish your reunification services and plans. Do you wish to enter the plea?
Can you read that part?
No, I understand what she's saying.
That's why I wanted to make sure you understand fully what you're getting into if you decide to enter your no contest plea. Here's hoping, right, that you accomplish reunification. But if you don't, you need to understand that I'll be looking at this petition as well as everything else that happens during the duration of your case services plan, if I have to. So if you don't want to enter a plea, I understand. If you want to think about it for a few minutes, I know there's some other pretrial issues also. All right, Ms. Double, have you made a decision? Jury trial or no contest plea? What's your preference?
I guess I'm just gonna do jury trial.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. We've got the 16th set up for that.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but I'm not available that day.
All right, well, let's do a couple dates then.
Yeah.
Let's go to February 6th.
Yeah, that was the day that Mr. Howitt was not
Oh,
available.
right. Sorry, thank you. 13th,
Yes, I'm
Okay.
on February 13th.
February 13th, 8:30 in the morning then for purposes of jury trial for Ms. Fayetteville.
So there's two separate dates.
As of today, there will be two separate dates.
Judge, I have a couple things. I think I can move. I'll take that date now, but if anything comes up, I'll let you know well in advance, but I think I'll be able to make that work.
Very good. Thank you so much. All right. Would everyone still like to have a pretrial as early as December 1st, or would you like me to look at a time closer to our scheduled jury trials for pretrial? For example, I could go out to January 5th, Monday afternoon, January 6th in the afternoon.
Your Honor, I think holding the December 1st pretrial date would be good, just to make sure we're making headway on any discovery issues. And if there's any other issues that come up, at least we have some time on the docket. But I would anticipate a second pretrial as well.
Would you like to set that now, so you don't run out
Sure.
of options? Okay, so we'll do a pretrial on December 1st, 2025, at 3:00 PM. And how about, do you want to go the first Monday in January or the first Tuesday in January in the afternoon? Any preferences?
First Tuesday in January.
I have all afternoon at this point. Any preference on time, 1:30 through 3:00?
No preference.
No preference.
Whatever works for you, Judge, will make it work.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and schedule it for a little bit later on in the afternoon in case there's a lot to talk about. Let's schedule it for 3:00 on Tuesday, the 6th.
January.
Yes, thank you. January 6th at 3:00. And I'm gonna give you the rest of the day for that until 4:30 in case we have a lot of issues that came up like what today did or anything else to try to do some time there. And then just to reiterate, we have the 16th for Mr. Patterson's jury trial, beginning at 8:30 in the morning. And February 13th at 8:30 for Ms. Devil's jury trial. Discovery will be conducted through your use of that subpoena. I'll sign that when I see it, assuming there's no issues with that.
May I ask the bailiffs to present it to you?
Has everybody else seen it?
No, I can read it in its entirety. I
That'd be
use
great.
the standard scale form. It simply asks the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Lenawee County, or records custodian to produce copies of unredacted investigation reports related to the respondent parents, Faith Double and Jeffrey Patterson from January 2017 to present. And that is it.
All right, Mr. Shealy, I know you are looking at potentially filing a lot of motions about the issue of discovery. Do you have any objection to the language of that subpoena?
I would prefer to view a copy of it. Before,
Would you like her to read that sentence to you again?
no, that's okay. That wording sounds good.
Okay.
Sure.
I think that's the entire sum and substance of the subpoena at this point.
No objection.
Mr. Howard?
No objection.
Ms. Stang?
No objections.
Very well. Okay, yes, Deputy.
Second retrieved, Your Honor.
Thank you so much. Well, I'll get that signed and started, and then obviously if anybody else needs to file motions or look for additional information, you're welcome to do that, but this one at least will be in progress. Okay, any other discovery issues or pretrial issues for the record?
I have nothing further.
Mr. Shealy?
Yes, one final request. Can we get an order for mediation, please?
Any objections?
I have no objection, Your Honor.
Okay, so I would assume since your client is pre-adjudication that the mediation would be about the petition and potential adjudication. Is that what I'd like to know what exactly you'd like to have looked at mediation. The mediator will want to know as well.
Could it potentially be an opportunity to discuss a plea agreement?
So yes, mediation regarding.
This is the first time I've heard about them being open to a plea. So absolutely willing to consider that.
Okay, well, Mr. Shealy, your client always has the right to admit or deny the allegations in the petition. He has the right to counsel, which is why you're here. So he would always have the opportunity to enter a plea. That's pretty clearly articulated in the court rules. But we'll give you a chance to talk with him further on that, and I'm happy to ask everyone to participate in a mediation regarding potential resolution of Mr. Patterson's case. Any other issues that you would like the mediator to tackle?
Not at this time, no.
Any objections to asking the department regarding that item to attend mediation on potential resolution of the outstanding petition?
No objections, Your Honor.
No objection.
No objection.
Very well. Okay, we'll refer this over. Court's happy to offer our standard rate to cover that mediation process. I can tell you for sure that Southeastern Resolution Services Center will accept that. Mr. Phil Shadler will accept that. You're welcome to choose a mediator, but they'll have to agree to, or you'll have to figure out how to pay them if they want something other than our court fee that we are willing to, or able to, I should say, able to offer in support of this process. And we'll make sure that we provide that information to you so that you can get that arranged. It will be the responsibility of the parties to reach out and get that scheduled. And here's hoping that that happens before you come back in December. Any further questions on that point, Mr. Shealy?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Very good. All right. So I'm happy to include that in today's pretrial order. Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about as it relates to your concerns about discovery, Mr. Shealy?
No.
All right, very good. So pretrial issues from the department? Or the guardian ad litem?
Yeah, I have just a report and then a recommendation regarding parenting time.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Yes, I was able to meet with all children at their current placement on November 3rd, 2025. I watched all 4 of them play with this tabletop air hockey game and played with each other. It was pretty just normal sibling interactions for the most part. Definitely some fussing and arguing, but everyone got a turn and ended up working out okay. And it's good to see them play together. There's a lot going on in this home, and the transition to foster care, I would not say has been smooth by, any stretch of the imagination. This placement had 3 kids of their own, and very little local supports in the form of friends or family. But they really have done an absolutely amazing job with these kids across the board. I've heard many positives of how much better the children are behaving since being placed in this home. So although it's been chaotic and kind of a rough transition, it's really starting to work for these kids. And, I think there's a lot more support that can be given to this placement to really ensure we're able to keep it as an option for these kids. And we had a meeting yesterday to kind of brainstorm ideas and discuss how we can best support these kids and this family. And we got a couple ideas and just try to work to make sure they're coming to fruition in the next couple weeks. This placement did make, an extremely difficult decision to ask for replacement of the oldest kid. Just reflecting on, I think it's really easy for, myself and maybe some people looking on the outside to, say, why are we looking for replacement? He's doing okay there. But when you really listen to the placement and hear what is occurring in the home, it really makes a lot of sense. The oldest kid really needs his own space. He needs his own alone time, and he needs this one-on-one attention that just can't be provided. There's a bunch of reports of just butting heads with cousins, siblings, etc. And in reality, and something the placement's been a huge advocate for, is the fact that he is very behind at school. And because this placement felt that they could not give him what he needs in the form of one-on-one time, support with tutoring or anything along those lines to really allow him to thrive, they realized that they just can't. I see this as a really selfless act by this placement, just really putting the child first and ensuring he gets what he needs. And then, it was really hard decision for them. I know, I talked with them in the meeting yesterday. You could tell it really broke their hearts, but I really do think it's, in the best interest of this child to find a placement where he can get that support that he needs. And then to address the parenting time, shortly after this case was started, we jumped right into supervised visitation for all the parents, and that was really chaotic and just really wasn't working well. So we shifted to, at my request and was granted, we shifted to therapeutic visitation with Miss Brene Moore, and they were, each parent got a 2-hour session with their respective children. And that's been going on for a month now. So the middle 2 children and their father, it's gone really well so far. The oldest and the youngest with their father has been okay, but there's just a lot of tension or strain on the relationship with the oldest and his father. And the youngest can be a lot to handle sometimes. So just kind of working on that. And, that might just be a tweak of doing more one-on-one time instead of a 2-hour session with all of them. And something we're definitely exploring, but not trying to cause more round trips and strain for placement. But and then finally for all 4 kids and their mother, I talked with Miss Brene Moore, the caseworker, and Miss Erin Abbott at Catholic Charities, who's in the process of completing the children's trauma assessments and really just taking all their observations with this parenting time and with the 4 kids and their mother. And it's just a lot of concerns. It was described to me that the youngest and one of the middle children just require a lot of attention. And this causes 2 of the other children to just almost act like they were invisible and just really keep to themselves for the entire visit. The 2 children who have the most trouble, the youngest and one of the middle children, just continue to act out until they get what they want. And mom simply just can't control it and cannot correct them. And then just comparing this to, one of those problem children, when they go and do a visit with their dad, he's totally different. There's control over him. He's able to get results and kind of correct his behavior and do this all in an appropriate manner. From talking with Erin Abbott again, just a couple of her observations during the trauma assessments before she's completed those. She did the meeting, she's working on the reports. There's just a total different demeanor between mom and the oldest and mom and the youngest. With the oldest, she's just a lot more negative. And then just a couple of her other observations with it, there was some bribery involved. She wasn't following instructions of the instructions and the rules of Catholic Charities when they're conducting these assessments. And just a little bit more that I think will be better explained in the trauma assessments. But her overall comments and concerns to me were that, mom is just not a calming factor for these kids. It's So at this point, it's been recommended to me by Ms. Renee Moore, taking in some of my own observations observations and conversations with some of the other parties in the case that Ms. Double and her 4 children suspend visitation just to allow the kids to get into therapy and work on some of their own issues and really put them in a better spot to engage with their mother, because right now it's just really not working out. There's so much strain, chaos, trauma with these children that it seems like every time they're coming to see their mom, it's just traumatizing them. And then when they return home, back to the placement or even, during the visits, it's just really not going well, and not allowing these kids to be put in a position to make any progress, to move forward. Really, when I'm talking with these service providers and hearing some of their observations and concerns, what really needs to happen is this relationship needs to be almost torn down to the studs and kind of start over and allow both parties to really work on themselves before there's this re-engagement, to allow and make strides towards reunification. And right now, I just think that these visitations, again, are just causing so much stress on the children and trauma to these children that it's really not getting anywhere, and we're just kind of spinning tires at this point. So I do believe that this visitation is harmful to the children, even if it is supervised. And I think all the kids and the mother really need to engage with individual therapists, work on some parenting skills, work on being able to multitask, and then come together and try to re-engage in visitation and try to move forward and make progress towards reunification. So the children were not consulted on this recommendation to spend their parenting time, mostly due to their age, but that is what I believe is best for them at this moment. Thank you.
Judge, I apologize. I've got a hearing. Can I be excused, Ms. Thomas being here? I don't want to be disrespectful and just walk out.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Amadeo.
Take care, Judge.
Right. I would imagine you have some response to that motion, Ms. Berger.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. My client reports that she is already in counseling. She's been engaged in individual counseling for quite some time, and that she is doing voluntary services. She is enrolled in a class through Care Pregnancy Center for parenting classes, and she has 4 kids, and they have high needs, and she's doing all she can to juggle those during her visits, but she doesn't believe that stopping those visits is what's going to be best for them. In order for them to work together to have successful visits, she needs to be able to have visits, and that can't happen if obviously we've requested a suspension. Maybe there could be individual visits. They could separate them out and build back up to having all 4 at one time. I think that there are a lot of other options that should be explored before we go straight to suspending visits, because suspending and then jumping back in with 4 is going to be difficult either way. So I think that that's kind of like our last resort. And this case is, although it's been before the court before, this time it's fairly new. And I think that in order to set this family up to see success, I think that severing that ability to have parenting time is not going to be best for the children, and it's certainly not going to be best for my client. So she would ask that maybe we have some sort of parenting time individual. Maybe we do the middle 2 and the oldest and the youngest, or we separate them out somehow. That way she's still able to engage in those parenting times with her children, and then work on those skills to help manage all 4 of them at once.
Can I say something?
Your Honor, my client would like to briefly testify, if that's okay. Just wait, I'll just you in.
Okay, let me get the initial arguments from our other counselors, and then I will come back to you.
Thank you.
Any position, Mr. Shealy?
Is this directed just at Miss Double, or is this also directed at Mr. Patterson?
It doesn't appear that there's any request to change or modify the parenting time from at the discretion of Ms. Renee Moore as it relates to your client.
Okay, no position. Thank you.
The department have a position?
Thank you, Your Honor. We are sensitive to both arguments at this point in time, Your Honor. I don't know that this is necessarily an argument rather than just the reality of the situation. Yes, mom does have 4 children versus the dads who are visiting with 2 children at a time. However, we are trusting our mental health professionals to assist us in stabilizing families to get their opinions back. And if the goal is reunification, then we would expect for mom to be able to handle the 4 children. And a lot of these needs, particularly as Mr. Howitt had pointed out, with the oldest child being delayed in school and having these behavioral needs, these are not new. I mean, arguably resulting from his family of origin and how he was raised. And so there's a lot of things that the children themselves have to work on. And from my understanding, Ms. Moore would like the children to be stabilized, to have rapport built with their service providers, and then go through an introductory process with Ms. Double. And I think that also from at least conversations with my team, we would like for the therapists to communicate with one another to understand what was observed in parenting time, if those things can be addressed with mom and with her own individual therapist, and if they can also be addressed within the children's therapy as well. So at this time, Your Honor, I think we are joining in with Mr. Howitt in requesting that parenting time for the time being be suspended. Until we have the trauma assessments back with clear recommendations on how to ensure the emotional and psychological welfare of the children and their parenting time. And without that information, we're really left to Mr. Howitt's reporting on that, and the observations have also been shared with the caseworker. And so I know that they're very consistent with what the caseworker is aware of as well.
Mr. Howard, did you have any initial witnesses or additional offer proof that you wanted the court to look at today?
I believe Ms. Dimick brought an email from Ms. Renee Moore about, her request, and it explains it there. I got most of my anecdotes from phone calls with Renee Moore and Ms. Erin Abbott, but I know she brought a couple copies of the email that was circulated to myself.
Okay, Ms. Dimick, come on up to our witness stand.
Should I bring these with me?
I don't know what you're looking at.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay. You're at will, Mr. Howard.
How long has the supervised parenting time been going on, or the therapeutic parenting time?
About a month.
And
Could you scoot up and speak right into that microphone? I'm having trouble hearing you from here, and it could be me, but it's pretty quiet.
My apologies. I'll project a little better.
Thank you.
and currently, what is the therapeutic visitation schedule?
Currently, the therapeutic visitation schedule is 2 hours each week for each parent. Faith has hers on Tuesdays. Mom has hers on Tuesdays. One of the dads on Wednesdays, one of the dads on Thursdays.
And can you share any of your observations from any therapeutic visitations that you've observed or witnessed?
Yes, I have only observed one therapeutic visitation, and it was with mom this past week, actually. It was a lot. One of the middle children was just not doing well before the visit. It was reported to me by the current placement that he was just being very defiant, and that this pattern of behavior does occur around the time that he visits with his parents. And when he arrived at the visit, he was not any better. He was kicking and screaming. He spat in his mom's face. I mean, he was just inconsolable. And throughout the visit, they all got escalated to some degree. It was mainly one of the middle children and the youngest getting escalated. They were both, yelling at their mom that they didn't like her. And it was just out of control. And it was just hard to watch.
Do you have a recommendation as to whether you believe it's best for the children to have visitation suspended right now?
From my own observations before therapeutic visitation, as well as the observations that I've read from the therapist, I do believe that Brene is completely right to suggest that they be suspended, just because of this pattern of behavior where their behavior is escalating around visits. It's not something that's super consistent other than that identified pattern.
Can you elaborate on any concerns that Ms. Moore has shared with you regarding the visitations and why this is her recommendation at this point?
Yes, there has been a number of concerns, particularly with the middle child. In every single report that I received, he has been escalated every single visitation. And this has started to kind of make him unravel outside of it. But Brene has also reported to me that there is sort of a struggle that she's seeing with mom and keeping all 4 children engaged during visits. Oftentimes, the oldest and one of the middle children are left alone and not really given much attention. Additionally, there has been concerns about mom talking about adult matters in front of the children and having adult conversations, as well as not being, I guess the best terminology would be inappropriate discussion over the therapeutic visitation itself and the matters over the homework and stuff that she receives as a part of therapeutic visitation.
And then there was an evaluation last week, from my understanding, that occurred during Ms. Double's parenting time with one of the children. Can you just elaborate on how that one-on-one evaluation went when it was just the 2 of them there?
Yes. So one of the middle children had a telehealth evaluation, and we organized it to be conducted with the therapist present before the therapeutic visitation took place, just for ease of transportation and everything. It was reported to me that the child was extremely dysregulated due to the inappropriate conversation that mom was having with the service provider. It was reported that she was talking extremely negatively about that child's father in front of him while he was in the room, and negatively about the matter of this case in front of the child. And the therapist tried to do what she could to move him from that situation, but there wasn't much to do because they were in such an enclosed space and he had already heard it. And this evaluation was for the child. It was to assess him and evaluate him for autism. And it was reported to me that it devolved into mom talking about herself in the case instead of the child.
I have nothing further.
Questions, Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Honor. Ms. Simic, do you have an email from Ms. Moore outlining her concerns?
Yes.
Is it with you right now?
Yes.
And is this stack of paper in your seat, is that a copy for, are there copies?
I have copies with me right now.
Okay. For Ms., I'm not sure how best to do so. I would typically not have this read onto the record, but with Mr. Shealy not being present in person to review it, I don't know how the court would like me to proceed in asking the court to receive it.
Mr. Shealy, I'm gonna need to know what's in that email. For these hearings, we are pre-adjudication. The court is monitoring to make sure that the children's services are being, their needs are met, and that the department is meeting their obligations to the children and the family pre-adjudication. The important piece of that is to just remind you that the rules of evidence do not apply. We're sort of moving at a juncture where it's almost emergent in nature. And with the motion on the table to suspend parenting time, I need to have this information in order to make the best decision. I've already decided that Ms. Brene Moore will be the person making the decisions on parenting time. So the question is, do you want this read onto the record, or do you want to lodge any objections to this at this point? What is your position?
I'd just like a copy of it by email.
You can definitely do that, Your Honor.
Very good. Thank you. Ms. Berger?
I'd just like to see it.
All right, do you have all the copies?
Yes.
All right, deputies, would you mind grabbing those copies from Ms. Zink and passing them on to the attorneys that are here? Ms. Thomas, do you have the ability to, do you have this email?
I believe it's buried within a body of emails. So
I can send it real quick.
Thank you. All right, so you'll be looking for an email from Ms. Berger, Mr. Shealy. And I'll
Thank
take
you.
a copy. Very good. Okay, so Mr. Howard, it's up to you. If you'd like to have this read into the record, I am receiving it as an exhibit.
I would not like this read into the record.
All right, very well. So we'll take a moment then for the attorneys to consider this, especially Ms. Berger. All right, do you have any other questions for this witness, Ms. Thomas?
yes, if I may, Your Honor. Okay, Ms. Dimick, the letter that we're all reading and now receiving, thank you for bringing that. Was this did this help formulate your opinion, or is this simply a summary of the conversations that you've had with Ms. Moore?
It's an accumulation of conversations that we've been having.
Okay, and I know that Mr. Howitt has already spoke to this point, but have you been able to speak with Ms. Abbott, who completed the trauma assessments with the children?
Yes, I was actually present for 3 of the 4 trauma assessments.
Okay, and is there anything that you and Ms. Abbott have discussed that would differ from what Mr. Howitt has already shared?
No.
Okay. With that, Your Honor, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Are you ready for questions, Ms. Berger?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Go ahead. I'm sorry, what's your last name again?
Dimick.
Dimick. Okay, Ms. Dimick, were you there for the alleged adult conversation between my client and Ms. Moore?
One of them, yes.
The one that is indicated in the letter or the
I
email?
believe so.
Okay, and was she in response to an answer to a question that was asked for the assessment?
Can you
Sure.
repeat the question?
Was that during an autism assessment?
The adult conversation?
Yes.
No,
Okay, when was that?
that was this last Tuesday at the parent visitation.
And there was no other assessment or anything there?
On Tuesday, no.
Was there a concern about interactions as it relates to the autism assessment?
Yes.
Okay, and did the assessor ask if this child has experienced any trauma?
I'm not fully aware of what happened during the autism assessment.
Okay, were you there for that?
No.
Okay. And you've only observed one parenting time?
One therapeutic parenting time.
And the children don't, to the best of your knowledge, they don't exhibit any behaviors outside of these therapeutic parenting times?
They do surrounding them.
What does that mean?
They're very hard to re-regulate after parenting times, and oftentimes they show extremely defiant behavior before getting in the car. They don't want to go.
Have they said they don't want to go?
Yes.
All of them?
Especially the middle child, who has been showing a lot of behaviors, has explicitly said that to me.
Do the children receive individual counseling outside of therapeutic parenting time with mom?
They are currently referred for CMH and will start services next week.
When was that referral sent?
That referral was sent, I believe, last week. And the oldest is currently in individual counseling, sorry.
So the petition was filed almost 2 months ago, is that right?
Correct.
So what took so long to get referrals for individual counseling set out?
There was a lot of focus on wanting the trauma assessments done to look over their recommendations,
Over whose recommendation? I'm sorry.
the trauma assessors.
Okay. And couldn't it be possible that the children are exhibiting behaviors because of the situation?
What situation?
Court involvement, your involvement, you know, all of our involvement.
Possibly.
So we don't know for sure if there's a behavior that's being exhibited because of mom. It could just be because there's, you know, court involvement again.
I can't answer that.
So there's no way of knowing, right?
Potentially, yeah.
No other questions, thank you.
Any questions, Ms. Stang?
Just briefly, have you had an opportunity to discuss the issue of the children's behaviors and what's been occurring with regards to Mr. Doobie recently?
Yes.
Okay, are you aware of if he has an opinion on mother's visits with the children?
He does have an opinion, yes.
And what is his opinion that you've been informed of?
I was informed that he does great with the children, but he did see during one of his children's trauma assessments that, I mean, he was just extremely dysregulated from his interactions with mom. So he believes that there is a negative connotation to those visits.
Okay, I have nothing further, thank you.
Mr. Shealy, did you have any questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Howard? Redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Frost?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you for your testimony. May I return to your seat. Anyone you'd like us, anyone else you'd like us to hear from, Mr. Howard?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Bye-bye, Your Honor.
Very good. Ms. Faith Double, come on up for a witness stand.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Thank you. Dave, have you heard the request of the guardian ad litem to suspend your parenting time?
I have.
And do you believe that's in the best interest of your children?
No, I do not.
Why not?
One of the visits that I had with Malachi
Remember, we're on YouTube, so just
Sorry.
use abbreviations, maybe. With
Oldest,
M.
second oldest, that works good too.
With my second oldest, where he was dysregulated, he was very upset. And during the visit, it got to be towards the end of the visit, and he came up to me and he told me that he was sorry, and he told me that he loved me. He told me that he missed me. And I asked him if that's why he was acting out. And he told me, yes. He also told me that he wants to come home. And also, because I'm going to be honest, so there were 3 referrals from U of M that U of M had placed out when they had first got taken. And they thought that, well, the pediatrician thinks that he has autism. The U of M, pretty much, I have it in paperwork, states that he has autism. And one of those referrals that were supposed to be in, I have been going to every single one of my kids' doctor's appointments. And at the last doctor's appointment that we had, the pediatrician herself looked at Atlas and asked her, why have these referrals not been placed out yet? Why are these referrals not being done? Because one of those referrals was supposed to be a 10-week program that me and Malachi were supposed to attend together, so I could learn how to better manage those behaviors that come from autism. And none of them were followed up on. And the pediatrician even said, like, honestly, if that was us, we would have already been hit for neglect.
You believe that you were told to follow up on something and you took this long to follow up, that there would be a case open?
I have asked Atlas, and I spoke.
Yes or no?
Okay, say that again.
You believe that if it were you and you would have taken this long to follow up on recommended services, that you would have a case open?
Yes, I do.
And do you believe that a lot of M's behaviors could be due to an autism diagnosis, not some sort of related issue to you specifically?
Yes, I do.
And do you think that he is maybe mad at you because this case is open and now he has been removed from his home?
Yes, I do. And he has told me to my face that is the reason why he's been acting out, is because he loves me and he wants to come home.
And you think that's fair that he could be upset, right?
I do. He's 5. He's never been away from me ever in his life. And this is the first time that he's ever been away from me. So he probably does hate me at this point, because he probably thinks that I abandoned him. And to throw autism and ADHD up on there too, like, I completely understand why he's so dysregulated. And my visits have been so chaotic because Malik requires a lot of attention. And I am dealing with 4 kids instead of 2 that they get.
Do you think that splitting up visits could be beneficial?
Yes, I do.
And you would make as many visits per week as possible, right? If they said you can visit individually with each kid, you could accommodate for 4 visits a week?
Yes, I do.
And you wouldn't have a problem with that?
No.
And you would be doing that in addition to the voluntary services that you've already begun?
Yes.
And is that what you're asking the court to do as an alternative to suspending your time completely?
Yes, because honestly, that is why the visits are so chaotic, is because M is very dysregulated because of autism, because of ADHD, because of, this is the first time he's ever been away from me. He's told me, like, I've asked him why he's upset. He's told me to my face that it is because he wants to come back home. All of my children, every single time I go to a visit with them, tell me that they want to come home. My daughter screams for me every time I put her in my sister's car.
There was some testimony about M's autism assessment that was like done virtually. Is that right?
Yeah.
And did that assessor ask you if there had been any trauma in his life?
Oh, it wasn't for, It was for B,
Okay,
and I was not talking crap about their dad, and this is another thing why this is another reason why I didn't want to plead guilty, because you guys are trying to make me look like I'm some kind of
not
criminal.
me, guys.
Not you, they are. They're trying to make me look like I'm some kind of criminal. The only thing that was talked about is the guy that did the appointment had asked me if there has ever been trauma.
So you weren't trying to make that appointment about you or about dad, or you were just trying to explain kind of the situation.
Yes, he asked me if there was trauma, and I told him the truth.
And this is
And
right.
there's trauma. His dad did try to suffocate him. Like, I don't know how else to beat around the bush. Like, you guys all know that he tried to suffocate his son. And I don't really think that it's considered talking crap. The doctor asked me if there was trauma. I said the truth.
As it specifically relates to your parenting time, is there anything else that you want to tell the court today?
No, I just asked that they all be separated, because it is hard at this time to keep them all regulated, because Malachi does have autism and maybe ADHD. And like, I do better with them by myself. And if these referrals would have been followed up on, like the pediatrician has asked Atlas why they haven't been followed up on, then I could have already been doing this 10-week program with my son to help address what needs to be addressed. And that this all could have been avoided if Atlas would have had done the referrals months ago like she was supposed to.
So do you think if by separating visits, doing services with your children individually, you would be able to work back up to having visits with all of them at the same time?
Yes.
I have no other questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas?
Thank you. Ms. Double, the referrals you're referring to, I'm trying to understand them, okay? You had mentioned that at the time of removal, U of M made like 3 different referrals for
Yep.
M.
Yep.
Okay. Who did they send those referrals to?
I'm not sure who they sent them to. All I got is a letter that I have sent to Atlas. I have got a hold of her boss because she has taken so long to do these referrals that were supposed to be done. And Atlas has known about these referrals since since the second day of the kids being removed.
Okay. So I'm sorry to cut you off, but so you received a notice of I'm gonna call it like a treatment plan, essentially?
Yeah,
from the doctor?
he was, U of M sent out a thing where me and Malachi were supposed to do this 10-week program together to help address the behaviors and to help address trauma. And they were supposed to do a contrast because he drools a lot. And they were trying to figure out if it was like something to do with his mouth muscles themselves. And then she had sent out another referral that me and Malachi were supposed to go sit through a 3-hour appointment to see if he has ADHD, because all of these behaviors that he is doing is backed by autism.
Okay.
Like,
And
they're
then-
all signs of autism.
Okay.
I have a letter from U of M stating that he basically has autism. His pediatrician thinks he has autism. Like, these referrals were supposed to be done months ago.
So why didn't you make the referrals?
Why didn't I make the referrals? Because I had told Atlas about it several times. I've asked Atlas about it several times. I didn't know if I was able to do those referrals because technically they're under your guys' jurisdiction. So you guys should have been the ones to do them.
But you go to all the appointments, correct?
I do.
And you're being updated about medical things, and if they need anything, like your
Yep, and
your
I
rights
have-
are still
Your
in
Honor,
place?
I'm going to object to this line of
And
questioning.
I have
One
asked,
second. So I don't think that it's fair to ask my client why she's not following up on services when her children are not in her care.
Yeah.
We all know she can't call and schedule an appointment for her children. They're not in her care. She can't do that.
Okay, I'm just gonna let you all know that, given the nature of the allegations in the petition And how fresh this case is compared to how recently these kids were just released back to these parents, which was just in January. I have access to all my notes from the prior case. And I'll just preface this so that you can all ask about it. My notes indicate that there was some analysis done in July of 2024 indicating that an autism assessment needed to be completed. And at this time, the children were with your client, Ms. Berger. So far beyond the issue of whether or not these referrals have been made in the last 60 days when the children have been under the jurisdiction of the court and the department. The much larger question here is why have these assessments not been completed when that referral was under your client's responsibilities as of July of 2024?
Oh, and I can have her testify to that, Your Honor, but I believe she had been taking her to those appointments, and where she stopped and where the department should have picked back up, that's what she's saying, there's been a lapse.
All right, I would love to hear some more detail on that point.
Sure.
Okay, so the answer to that question is when that first referral went out for autism, Jeff had taken them in Jeff had taken them in there for that appointment. Jeff never told me that there was an autism thing that was sent out. And when I learned about it by the pediatrician,
Which was
Which
was when?
Whenever they were sent out the second time. And I told the pediatrician, I said, because she said that she did put out that referral. And I told the pediatrician that nobody had ever called me, not once.
So when they told you about it, that's when you started following up with you again,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes. But anyways, back to what I was trying to say is that when I found out that had been put out, I started doing my own investigation, and the place that she had originally put out that autism thing to, I called them myself, and they told me that they never got a hold of me because the phone number that they were given by the pediatrician was not a good number. And it was an old number. So I called the pediatrician's doctor's office and I said, what's going on? I've updated you guys with my phone number. And Amanda, I remember exactly who I talked to from the pediatrician's office. Her name's Amanda. Amanda told me that when I had called to update my phone number with the doctor's office, that they updated all of the phone numbers on my kids except for Braxton and left Braxton as an old phone number. And that is why they had not, that is why they were not able to get a hold of me about the referral. So that again should not fall back on me.
So as soon as you found out about it though, you followed up.
I did.
Okay. I'm sorry.
And
I think Ms. Thomas was asking questions, so
The
I'll
ori-
let her take back over.
Can I say one more thing? The original autism thing that she had sent it out to, I think was Centria of Autism. And
Who are you talking about? Who is she?
the pediatrician, the referral that you're talking about from 2024 that everybody's saying that I never followed up on. So that's what I was just saying. I called the Century of Autism. I'm pretty sure that's where it's called, that's where it's from. And that
Just stop, because I'm not even, the information that you're offering hasn't been contextualized or structured in a way that's relevant at this point. So I'm gonna go back to Ms. Thomas.
followed up on.
I'm
And
gonna go-
I'm telling you why it
Ms.
wasn't followed up
Double,
on.
I need you to stop talking right now. Ms. Thomas is in the process of asking questions. We're gonna let her finish that, and then Ms. Berger can come back to you and maybe ask you some other questions in a minute. Ms. Thomas.
Your Honor, at this point, I have no further questions.
All right, back to you, Ms. Berger.
Okay, so there was a recommendation for an autism assessment in July or June of 2024, right? Okay, and that was given to Dad.
Yep.
And
I just want to clarify for you that it was actually part of a CTAC evaluation that was provided to both parents.
okay,
No, it wasn't.
well, if the record says it does, then it
Okay,
does.
the record speaks for itself, Ms.
Yeah.
Double.
So when were you made aware that he needed to have an assessment?
When I asked her to place it back out for the second time.
When-
with the-
when?
With the correct phone number.
Like date, time?
It was about 3 months ago. Well, it's whenever it was the closest to time that they were removed from me.
Okay. So at that time, you were like, hey, what's going on with this assessment? I haven't heard anything else. You reached out to the pediatrician said, oh, we have the wrong number. You updated that. And then from there, you received a phone call to do the assessment. Is that right?
I had already updated my phone number. Whoever
Right.
updated
But you
it
updated
did
in
not
the
update
beginning.
it right, because they updated my phone number with all of the kids'
Except one
except for the one.
that was needing that.
Yep.
Okay, assessment. Okay. Okay, so as it relates to parenting time, you think that, again, you think that you could do individual sessions and work towards having all of them back together at once, right? Okay, I don't have any other questions, okay?
Okay, any other attorneys have questions for this witness?
Yes,
Mr. Howitt?
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Shield. He said no.
Okay. Do you agree with the assessment from Ms. Renee Moore and the caseworker myself that parenting time is not going well? Just yes or no?
No,
You don't agree with that assessment?
no.
There's nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. May you return to your seat. Anyone else would like us to hear from Ms. Berger?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Counselors, anything else for the record today?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your
Then
Honor.
obviously my decision for you on parenting time.
Nothing additional.
Okay, any comments about the issue of parenting time, the request for that, the continued removal, or anything else pending our next retrial?
Nothing further.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further.
Okay, all right. Okay, Mr. Shealy, I can read lips, but technically we need your response verbally.
No, Judge.
I think- Thank you. All right, well, as I previously stated, as it relates to the request for parenting time, the court looks at this case, frankly, in a much larger perspective than simply what's happened since the removal on 9/19/25. And the petition asks the court to do that. The last case with this family and both of these parents and all of these children occurred as recently as April 12, 2024 in a petition requesting in-home jurisdiction. Many pieces of analysis were accomplished during the course of time that the parents were subject to the court's jurisdiction during that last case. Some of the things that came up were some diagnoses and some needs for each of the parents, as well as for the children, including that need for further analysis, an in-depth analysis of M's special needs, as well as some of the other children's needs. Part of the issues at the last juncture were the unmet needs of the children around some of these things, but at the time the court closed jurisdiction back in January, the family seemed to be on track with addressing some of those. The need for removal became adamantly clear, or abundantly clear, I should say, for all of the reasons that the courts previously indicated, but it's very clear that those reasons are indeed very similar to some of the issues that arose at the outset of the last time this family had to have court involvement. And that does include some of those services that would have been necessary for M, potentially for Ms. Double, and that those have not taken place, and that the children's mental health has suffered significantly as a result of that in the meantime. I have already indicated that parenting time should be subject to the authority of the therapeutic supervised parenting time coordinator. In this case, that is Ms. Renee Moore. We obviously have another CTAC underway. I would say to the department and our agencies and our care providers that you don't have to go back or reach back very far in order to find some of the analysis that has been completed on these children. And I would ask you to do that so that you can make sure that our current analysis and service providers, thank you, this is just my copy of the petition, so that our current service providers that are working with the children can have the same contacts in order to most effectively streamline and coordinate services. So I do appreciate, I'll say this, I appreciate the department, Mr. Howitt and Ms. Brene Moore asking me to make this decision so that I can have the opportunity to listen to Ms. Stubble and Mr. Patterson and the arguments of the attorneys before I formally suspended parenting time, because I had already effectively given her the discretion to do that. I do find that as a result of her observations, our caseworkers' observations, and the unmet needs of the children, their demonstrated behaviors around parenting time, that it is consistent with the showing that there's harm associated with parenting time with Ms. Stubble at this time. I am suspending parenting time. I want to remind everyone that we are back here December 1st. Thank you, Ms. Stubble. We appreciate your time for today.
Yep.
We'll be back here December 1st at 3 o'clock. I would love to see further updates from our service providers, from Ms. Brene Moore, perhaps from Erin Abbott, confirmation of circulation of those records that may be useful in expanding the perspective on this issue. The removal will continue. The children are remaining to be in the safest and least restrictive circumstances under at the moment. And we'll explore that further again when we come back for pretrial on December 1st at 3 o'clock. I will issue the order from today's pretrial that encompasses all of the things that were decided over the course of today, including scheduling, the suspension of parenting time, the request to circulate prior records that are implicated significantly in our petition for our service providers, as well as those changes to parenting time for Ms. Stubble. Unless there's any questions, that's all for today.
Thank you.